Hey addicts, welcome back to another anime-related video. I'm Josh.
I'm Colt.
And today we're talking about My Hero Academia Season 3.
Because it just got done!
It was so good, and we're here to talk about it. Hopefully this gets up pretty soon after it releases. This is the day of, or the day after, I should say. So getting right into it, we're going to go over, hopefully briefly, about what the whole third season entails. This starts off, I guess, pretty soon after the first season ended. We get to see that the semester has ended and they're officially on their summer vacation, but that doesn't mean they get to relax at all because they are, I guess,
summer training camp.
Yeah, against their will. I guess it doesn't really say.
Slaves?
I mean, they willingly went, I guess.
Yeah,
but so they go into this like summer training camp. Wow, I butchered that. But anyway, pronunciation's not my quirk. But we get to see them, and they're taken to this like obscure, like secreted location. Wow, I'm just okay.
Secluded location.
Thank you. Take over.
The whole reason it's meant to be secluded is because, well, they're trying not to get attacked by villains again for like the third time.
They are a villain magnet.
They really are. Because, I mean, in the end, it didn't really work out very well, because apparently there's a snitch amongst them who sold them all out, and they got attacked, mercilessly. At least one person died, I think.
Maybe.
Possibly.
In the ashes. But this is actually really a good opener, I thought, because we get to see the League of Villains come back in full force, and I think this is the first time we actually see them gain an upper hand and them actually get win a battle.
Yes.
And so in this instance, they get to capture one of the students, which leads into
Bakugo.
Yeah,
Bakugan.
It had to be that dirty guy.
It really did.
But which made it more comical, I will say. But that leads it into like the next kind of segment, because then we get to the part where we finally see the showdown between All for One and All Might. And this is so freaking badass. It was so cool to watch.
Is.
It was probably, for me at least, it was the highlight of the season. And we get to see that, really big clash, and that eventually leads to the point where one chapter of the show ends because All Might he won, but he is no longer a holder of All for One because his flames have been extinguished. And so this kicks off basically the beginning of Midoriya or Deku's kind of reign into that, because we get to see him finally having to step up. And with that, as he's trying to prove himself, we get to see him go into applying for what they call it's like a licensing exam for heroes.
The provisional licensing exam.
Yeah, and this is kind of like the next step that they have to. It's like getting a license before you can get the job.
Kind of like getting a driver's license before you can drive.
Yeah.
Actually, I guess technically it'd be like your learner's permit, because you're technically not a professional hero.
Yeah.
But you can, participate as one.
It's like if you see something going on as you're walking by, you can interfere and you're in your legal bounds.
Yes.
So, and that is, I would say, the majority of the back half of the season. We get to see a good amount of episodes with that. And
which I would say it was pretty interesting, because you got to see, a bunch of new quirks.
Yeah, because this isn't just the academy that they're present at, but also the other academies in the surrounding area. They're all participating against each other. And this kind of leads to some people making it and some people not.
Well, really, it was only 2 people who didn't make it from UA.
Yeah. Which
were Bakugo, because, anger issues. And who was Todoroki?
Yeah.
Yeah, Todoroki didn't make it, Mr. Half and Half.
Because he fought with another guy instead of against the enemy. But with that, that kind of ends the end of their their summer vacation, I guess to say, and then it gets on to the next semester, which it doesn't really say. It's not really been a year, so I guess these don't go as regular high school. But this
at least regular high school according to the U.S.
Yeah. And so they get started with their new semester, and we get to see that as a precaution, they want to move the students into dorms, so they actually move into the school's premises.
Which technically happened before the provisional licensing exam. It just
Yeah.
kind of really didn't matter that much, if you ask me. Like, it's kind of cool because you get to see All Might, like, begging Deku's mom to, like, let him go to UA. Or stay at UA and, like, be away from her, even though she's, like, scared that he might get attacked or hurt again. And I thought that was pretty cool, but I will say it kind of didn't really matter too much, because in the end you knew he was going to stay.
Yeah.
Because...
I think it's mainly just because, they want to paint it to be kind of, I don't want to say realistic, but that's the only word that's coming to mind, because, like, even if, like, he's going to stay there, they still want to explain, like, oh, where is his mom in this whole situation, Like, why hasn't she been seeing that he's been put in danger so much? So, I mean, it's like one of those things they didn't need to, but I did like it. And then you get the interaction with All Might and his mom, which I thought was really great. But they get to, I guess once they move into the dorms, tensions sort of get to the breaking point between Deku and Bakugo.
Yeah, and this is, like, right after the provisional licensing exam, because Bakugo kind of, like, finally realized after the first season when Deku was like, I borrowed my quirk, so I'm going to make it my own. At this point, Bakugo's finally realizing, like, oh, that's what he meant by that, is that he got All Might's power. So then it finally gets to a boiling point, and they fight. Then they're put under house arrest. I think, if I remember right, Deku got 3 days.
Yeah. And then
Bakugo got 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, which I just wanted to add, it was like, Bakugo had the whole Hank from Breaking Bad. It took him so many seasons, but he's like, I finally cracked the case. I had the mystery solved. But yeah, and then after kind of like that, this is where the season starts to close down, because we get mainly an introduction and like a tease to the next season with them starting their what is called like a work study, and we get an introduction to a new group of like students,
the best 3 students at UA, so they call them the Big 3.
Yeah. And then at the very end of the season, we get a sneak peek of what the villain's side, and basically they're just recruiting more people, trying to replace, the powerhouse, of All for One.
Well, not only that, but I don't even really think they're trying to replace that. I think they're trying to get new people in, because they kind of lost, I think, 2 or 3 of them. I know they at least lost Mustard and Muscle. Oh, and they also lost the... one guy who had the really weird, like, straitjacket thing, but he fought with, like, his teeth.
Oh, yeah.
He
broke all his teeth.
Yeah, it's freaking weird.
I think, do you want to... I think speculation is something we can talk about in this if you want.
Yes.
I guess before we get into that, though, is there any, like, highlights of the season that you just absolutely loved?
I probably would say the fight that they had with, like, the main evil people during the training camp arc. I think that was really well done. I also did really like the provisional licensing exam. I didn't think it was that needed. Like, at least how much they put into it wasn't needed. I feel like they could have, pulled back a little bit. But I understand why they didn't. I think it really made it really good. But I still think they could have pulled back just a little bit. Maybe not made it as many episodes as it was.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because it's a little bit, it feels a little dragged on. But at the same time, you don't, I guess, necessarily find it too uninteresting, because it does kind of harken back to the sports festival.
Yeah.
But in more serious terms. And so that's interesting to watch. Although, I would have liked to seen something, like, past that point. But at the same time, I kind of understand, because it's like they were trying to make us not left on too big of a cliffhanger, so I do like that, because I hate it when people do that. But as like the main highlight for me, like episodes like 48 to 50 are I think my favorite of the entire show. It's just like there's so much like big stuff that happens, not only like the storyline, but then just like battle. I think there's probably the most serious battle or the most life-threatening battle in those episodes, and then just seeing how All Might and Midoriya's relationship kind of
Changes.
Matures, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, matures a little bit, kind of changes probably for the better.
Yeah.
I would agree.
And so that was something I just really liked. Plus, there's a scene, and I won't give too much away in terms of the context, but I just love it because it's like All Might's sitting on a beach, and then like Midoriya's like coming towards them, and they start running together, and it's like a slow motion thing, and then just all of a sudden All Might just like decks them with Texas Smash.
It's freaking great.
I love it. But yeah, getting on to speculation. Well, maybe before speculation, what would you rate this season?
I would give it a 9 out of 10. I think it was really good. I just don't think it stacked up to the other 2 seasons, mostly just because of how dragged out it kind of felt. And, like not knocking it, but like it just certain parts felt too dragged out for what they needed to be. Like the training camp arc felt a little bit dragged out, and that was one of the lesser like that one had less episodes than most. The provisional licensing exam felt really dragged out. And I won't lie, the fight, or the scene, or the episodes that built up to the fight with All For One kind of dragged themselves out. But I think it had a payoff that was stronger than the rest. Because provisional licensing exam, what do you get? You get your license to be a hero, basically. Or I guess your learner's permit to be a hero. What happened with the training camp arc? Oh, they trained and you survived.
Yeah.
You know.
For me, it's very similar to Colton's. I give it an FFA. I don't know where I think it's somewhere in between like middle, like in the middle range of an FFA, just because, like Colton said, the pacing is a little bit off. It's a little bit dragged out. Now, for me, I don't know if that's necessarily because this is the first season I watched episode by episode, or that I was having to wait, in between. But I do think, reflecting back on it, that there's just some arcs that they took, a little bit too long, and like him, not to rehash, but transitioning stuff is a little bit long. But with that being said, there's still some really great moments. I think this is probably the heaviest action season we've got.
Yep.
And with that, I'd say it still deserves that ranking. But getting on to a little bit of speculation, what do you think is going to be going on season 4?
Season 4, I believe we're going to get more into Class 2B, or 1B, or whatever it is. I think we're going to get more into them a little bit. Like, not too much, because, they're still side characters. But I think he's going to get more into them, and we're going to learn a little bit more about their powers and how they work. But I also think it's going to build Deku up to be the next All Might.
Mm-hmm.
Not too fast, but, like, at a good pace of, hey, we're building him up to be, like, the next All Might. Probably another thing that I think's going to happen is probably going to be another major fight between them and the League of Villains, which I think someone might get seriously injured. Mm-hmm. Probably, like, not an important character, but, like, someone who's important enough that is, like, it matters that they got hurt and people actually care about them. It's just one of those things.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think, for me, I would say all of those are pretty good speculation thoughts. I think that there's definitely going to see some progression on Deku's part. They've been going at a steady pace, but it seems a little bit slow, so I'm interested to see if they're going to do like a bump up, where maybe he gets like top 10 of the school. I think that's something that would be like a good, progression for him throughout the season, but not too much to where it's like, wow, he just, they just wrote it to where he was powerful.
Kind of with you bringing that up, it makes me wonder, like, how do you get so high? Is it just because...
Yeah, I don't know, because they said... this is where it gets tricky, because they said that out of all this time, he's only been able to raise his body's capacity by, like, 2%.
Yeah, it was like 7%.
Yeah, and so unless they, start doing some major time jumps, I don't know if we're going to be able to see, like, him getting to, like, 20 or, like, 30%. But I think it'll definitely increase, maybe even like maybe 5%, I'll say, somewhere around there. As far as like regular story beats, I'm at a loss because I don't know even where to begin, because the League of Villains, I think they will have some kind of interaction with them, but I think it's too early for like the next season for them to like break out All For One or break out some of their more, I think that's too early for that. So maybe it's just more of like what we saw in like season 2 where they're building up people, but they haven't really gone on the offensive yet. And that's where I kind of think they're going to deal with. As far as the work study thing, that might be a big thing in terms of getting training, because I think they are going to have to get a lot more experience, a lot more powerful, so that when they do break out other people, they're going to need to be ready.
I would agree.
Yeah. But with that, I think we're done with this review. And we wanted to do the movie, but we're not sure when we're going to be able to see it now. So we are planning on doing that in the future. Not sure when, but stay tuned for that. If you're looking forward to any of our other stuff, we do have other anime stuff coming up, as well as Cells at Work, Overlord Season 3, as well as some older anime, and then talking about upcoming stuff. We also do movie and game stuff, which if you want to check out a playthrough of Undertale, Michael has that going on right now. But if you want to check out any of the other stuff, links will be in the description, and we'll see you guys later, addicts.
Screw you, Regal!